Is it on? False advertising in Christianity. God loves us. Oh, that's not funny. I'm not laughing at that. God loves us, and I think we're always going to have a hard time accurately representing that, because obviously God's love is so great, we're never going to be able to capture in words or reflection in our own actions how good that is. We don't have the understanding for that. But sometimes I think God's love can be represented too big from a certain angle, and that angle is that because God is so loving, I can do whatever the heck I want, as if God's love is an excuse for sin, when actually it is because God loves us so much that we have boundaries, that we have things that are explicitly said good for us to do and bad for us to do. And it strikes me that when we talk about how loving God is, we kind of only talk about that from the point of view of God loving us, and we rarely talk about that from the point of view that God therefore loves himself. God is well aware that he is an authority figure, he is the judge, he is the creator of the universe, he is God. That's why it's so humbling that he sent Jesus as an infant into the world, that Jesus suffered and died when he in no way deserved to do that. So it's really important from that angle that we understand that God loves himself and he knows what he's worth. So when we do stuff wrong, God not only sees that from a loving point of view, but also from an authority and a judge point of view, from someone who set the standard for good and sees that that has now been gone against. God's love is not an excuse for sin, it is the reason that we can be free from the consequence of it. On the other hand, Christians can definitely falsely advertise how harsh God is on sin and can adopt this kind of policing attitude for people doing things wrong. Yes, it's good that we can hold each other accountable, but that should be done in relationship with people when you love them and your intention is to draw them closer to God, not to compare yourself to them, to make yourself feel better, to implement shame onto them or guilt. We have to be aware of ourselves. The Bible talks about checking the plank in your own eye before going and adjusting the speck in someone else's. And to an extent, what is the point of just correcting what people are doing? Because what people are doing, their output, is a reflection of what is inside, the quality of their faith in their heart and their connection to God. As a teenager, I was baffled that I was being told, hey, you shouldn't be kissing that boy because you're not in a relationship with him, you're not dating him. Without the balance of, okay, well, let's talk about why you might be doing that, what's going on, do you need any prayer support? The focus just seems to be on the rule, the right and wrong, and just don't do that. And what? We shouldn't be obsessed with correcting what people do, because what people do is not what saves them, it's their faith in their heart. So if you see someone whose lifestyle isn't really reflecting the Christianity that they're saying that they have, then first of all, check the quality of your own relationship with God and your lifestyle. Then make sure that your motives are in the right place and that you want to go and help them and be loving towards them and you're going to be gentle and respectful. And then go and support the needs of their hearts, and their actions and their lifestyle will overflow from the quality they've got within, their connection to God. And also, that's not just going to happen immediately. That will rarely happen like that. That's a transformation over time. So be patient with people. Those are some more thought through thoughts on this topic. The less thought through thoughts are about to be delivered. And that is false advertising. I've kind of talked about this before. It's false advertising that Christianity is a really easy ride. I don't think everyone's convinced of this. I've heard of people who think that Christians are really perfect and to be a Christian you have to be perfect. And I also heard of people who are like, Christians are fake and they act like they're perfect and happy and they're not, and I don't connect with that, so I don't want to be a Christian and get in with all the fakeness. I think it's really sad to give people the impression that Christianity is really easy and Christians are really easy people to get along with all the time. But that's not true. So people become a Christian expecting that to happen, and then they're like, hang on, this isn't quite what I thought it was going to be. Everything was meant to be easy and everyone was meant to be nice, and actually I've been really let down and now I don't know what to do and what's real and what's not. I think it's more powerful that we have freedom to talk about things that are difficult, but the fact that despite that, we still choose to love God and persevere with faith because it's worth it and because God is our rock in those difficult times. So ultimately, I think we need to get that balance right with God, that He is not one or the other. He's not loving or an authority that will judge us. He is both, and both of them work together. They're not contradictory. God is the perfect being. He has the power to execute that really well, and that might be hard for us to understand because humans are never going to be able to do that in the same way. And so to take our idea of humans trying to do both and then implementing that on God is never going to look great. So that's going to take a little bit of trust and open-mindedness. But with Christians, I think we really have to remember that these are people who have openly said, I'm a failure, I'm not very good at life, I can't do this, I sin all the time, and I need Jesus to help me. I need him to forgive me and free me from my sins. And when they become a Christian, it's the same attitude. Their security is then in heaven and you have a relationship with God, but their lifestyle is still an ongoing cycle of, I failed at that, forgiveness, try again, I failed, forgiveness, try again. And they're people who are going to get stuff wrong. They don't do everything perfectly. Yeah, there's a great book called the Bible with stuff to aim for and how to live and great guidance, but not all those things are going to be achieved like that. There is still sin and there are still things that go wrong. So we have to be patient with people. We have to be forgiving and give them lots of grace. And we have to be okay with the fact that Christians are going to mess up. Some Christians are going to be really sad. Christians aren't always going to get on. And that's okay. That's not the end of the world. That's not something that we have to hide. Let's just talk about it, but talk about it well and give solutions. Am I getting too passionate about this? Oh, thanks for watching.